Hi guys, welcome to Sourcing Classes. This is Hima Hegde presenting before you the Anthropological News Diary for the week. To begin with, let us look at the topics under light for the week. This covers all the topics from 17th of April to 23rd of April. To obtain the details of all these topics, do visit the official website of Sourcing Classes, that is www.sourcingclasses.com. There you will find the Anthropology News Diary document, that is the A&D document. So here are the archaeology topics, archaeology based topics, followed by tribal affairs, then the physical or biological anthropology, the same is continued here, followed by socio-cultural anthropology. So here are the topics under light for today. Firstly, we have the registration of indigenous inhabitants in Nagaland. Now this comes under tribal affairs. We then have T-Rex fossils, that is the Tyrannosaurus rex fossils. Now this is a part of paleontology, which in turn is a part of biological anthropology. Then the third one reads, space is the final frontier for archaeologists. As said, this is a part of archaeology. Then we have racism, which comes under socio-cultural anthropology. So coming to the first topic, we have Nagaland, registration of indigenous inhabitants. So let us first look at the context, that is, why is this in news? Recently, an apex body as in the central body of Naga tribes, that is Naga Ho, it is called as Naga Ho, has cautioned the Nagaland government with respect to the preparation of RIIN as in Register of Indigenous Inhabitants of Nagaland, which is seen as a variant of Assam's National Register of Citizens. Moving on, let us now look at some of the key points. So firstly, we have the background. So what is the background of this issue? So the state government had formed a three-member committee in the year 2019 for studying, examining and recommending the implementation of RIIN, that is the registration of indigenous inhabitants. So here are the functions of the same. Firstly, the eligibility criteria to be an indigenous inhabitant, that is what it gives. Then authority to authenticate claims of being indigenous. Then the place of registration as indigenous inhabitant. Then we have the basis of claims of being indigenous, the nature of documents that will be acceptable as proof of being indigenous. We then have the register of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland, that is the RIIN. So the RIIN will be prepared after an extensive survey with the help of village-wise and ward-wise list of indigenous inhabitants based on the official records. Also, it will be prepared under the supervision of each district administration. I repeat, each district administration. No fresh indigenous inhabitant certificate will be issued after the RIIN is completed, except for children born to the state's indigenous inhabitants, who will be issued indigenous certificates along with the birth certificates. Now the RIIN database will be updated accordingly. So next, we have the integrated with the online system for inner line permit. Now that is, the RIIN will also be integrated with the online system for inner line permit, a temporary document that non-inhabitants are required to possess for the entry into Nagaland. Now this will be monitored. The entire exercise will be monitored by the Commissioner of Nagaland. In addition, the state government will designate nodal officers of the rank of a secretary to the state government. Now coming to the concerns. What are Nagas' concerns? Firstly, it is the exclusion of Nagas. This goes without saying. If RIIN implemented the identification process with 1st December 1963 as the cutoff date for determining the permanent residents of the state, it is likely to exclude the Nagas. Who have come far beyond the boundaries of Nagaland, or who have come from beyond the boundaries of Nagaland. Then we have the loss of property. The loss of property. Now the Nagaland who are living in Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh in India and in Myanmar have a legitimate claim to their ancestral homeland. They have a legitimate claim to their ancestral homeland. Now, in the absence of records such as land pattas, house taxes paid or enrollment in electoral rolls prior to 1st December 1963, many procedural anomalies prior to this date, many procedural anomalies will crop up even within the so-called pure Nagas of Nagaland. Now, it can be treated as illegal. The idea of Nagas as a people to live together and their aspiration to live with self-determination will be irreparably damaged. The non-indigenous Nagas could be treated as illegal immigrants and their lands and properties could be confiscated. So let us, before moving on to this, let us understand the way forward in general. In an already volatile region where the armed forces is routinely extended, it is best that Nagaland proceeds with caution in this enterprise. The RIIN should not ultimately become a vehicle to make outsiders of insiders. Emotive political issues cannot be allowed to drive the compiling of a registry of citizens. Moving on, we have the T-Rex fossils. T-Rex as in, it's a dinosaur called Tyrannosaurus rex. So let us understand about the Tyrannosaurus rex. Its fossils were discovered recently. So let us just understand what exactly is this animal like. Was this animal like? So the Tyrannosaurus rex, the most storied of all dinosaurs, is considered the most fearsome eating machine. The most fearsome eating machine to have evolved on Earth. It lived towards the end of the Cretaceous period around 66 million to 68 million years ago. 68 million years ago. It is believed that an adult member of the species stood as tall as 12 feet. It was 12 feet tall and 40 feet long. 40 feet long. It weighed between 5,000 to 7,000 kilos, that is 5 to 6 tons of kilos. The dinosaur inhabited what is today's western United States. It was not found in India. The fiercest of all Indian dinosaurs was probably the Rajasaurus narmadensis. So the fossils or the found fossils are important to understand the late Cretaceous period, which is the period when Tyrannosaurus roamed the earth. So what is the Cretaceous period? The Cretaceous period in geological time is the last. It is the last of the three periods of the Mesozoic era. The Cretaceous began 145 million years ago and ended 66 million years ago. It followed the Jurassic period and was succeeded by the Paleogene period. So that's about it for the T-Rex. Next we have something called the space archaeology, where it says space is the final frontier for archaeologists. The boot prints left by Apollo 11 astronaut Neil Armstrong, are a tangible legacy of one of humanity's greatest achievements, that is putting a man on moon. It's a technological feat easily on par with Egypt's pyramids, the Great Wall or Stone Age. But how should Apollo 11 mission site and others be preserved and protected for future generations? Right now, the footprints, rovers and hundreds of other artifacts from the Apollo missions are not protected. They are not protected like the heritage sites on Earth, something a small but growing number of space archaeologists want to change. Now these seminal imprints, they are not set in stone. These imprints are not set in stone, but they are set in dust. If they are not preserved, either by having a cover put over them or by declaring a national park around them, then they will go. There are critical sites. These are critical sites for understanding human movement into space. And there is no reason why this can't be demarcated as space parks or have some kind of protective regime put around them. It's not an abstract concern. The thing about archaeology is it does not have to be really old. It should primarily be something that one can excavate. The primary aim of archaeology becomes interaction. That is, the primary aim is to look at how humans interacted with material objects and environments. Moving on, many of the objects and traces left on the moon aren't just of scientific and technological value. They are cultural artifacts. They include family photos left by astronaut and the patch from Apollo 1 mission brought by the Apollo 11 astronauts to commemorate the 3 astronauts who died in a cabin fire during a rehearsal launch in 1967. Most archaeologists agree the artifacts should be left on the moon. The artifacts should be left on the moon. Any attempt to retrieve them would result in damage. Equally, even if they are undisturbed by future missions, natural space phenomena such as radiation could put some of these artifacts at risk. The moon plays a huge role in many different cultures around the world, and any international moves to protect it should take into account the cultural and symbolic beliefs about the moon. Humanity has been staring at the moon for last 200,000 years. It is the common heritage of humanity. No one owns it and everyone owns it. Let us now move on to racism. So what exactly is racism? Now racism is the belief that the groups of humans possess different behavioral traits corresponding to the physical appearance, and can be divided based on superiority of one race over the other. It may also mean prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against other people because they are of a different ethnicity. Modern variants of racism are based in social perception of biological differences between people. These views can take the form of social actions, practices or beliefs, or political systems in which different races are ranked as inherently superior or inferior to each other based on presumed shared inheritable traits, abilities, or qualities. While the concept of race and ethnicity are considered to be separate, in contemporary social science, the two terms have a long history of equivalence in popular usage and older social science literature. Now, ethnicity is often used in close sense. To one traditionally attributed race. The division of human group based on qualities assumed to be essential or innate to the group, that is, shared ancestry or shared behavior. Now, therefore, racism and racial discrimination are often used to describe discrimination on an ethnic or cultural basis, independent of whether these differences are described as racial. According to a UN convention, that is the United Nations Convention on Racial Discrimination, there is no discrimination between the terms racial and ethnic. Discrimination. The UN Convention further concludes that scientifically false. The superiority based on racial differentiation is scientifically false, morally condemnable, socially unjust, and dangerous. The convention also declared that there is no justification for racial discrimination anywhere in theory or in practice. So that's about it for this video. Hope you found it informative. Thank you.